The following program is sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.
Welcome back to Building Wisconsin, Kilah. Good to see you again. And thanks for coming on another show and representing the Operative, Plasterers, and Cement Masons of Local 599. And you know, we're here at your training center in Milwaukee. There's a lot of activity today.
Lots of activity. These are third-year students that are ready to complete their training.
Sure. Well, on today's show, we want to focus in more on the apprenticeship opportunities that exist and how someone can become a member and join your team. And you know, in previous shows, we had an opportunity to see a lot of cement masons in action on really cool projects. But I still want our viewers to know what cement masons do out on a job site.
Sure. Our cement masons are involved with concrete finishing, so placing and finishing concrete in a couple different applications. So they could be commercial builders, and those are the folks that are building our buildings, our skyscrapers, our big warehouses, big flat floors, hospitals, schools, anything that's going to serve inside concrete. And then we also have road builders. So these guys are doing roads, runways,
the big
curb and
infrastructure
project,
yeah.
bridges, anything basically outside that you drive on.
Yeah, it's a pretty diverse career. A lot of people think, oh, you're a concrete finisher. All you do is finish some concrete all day. It's anything but that, isn't it?
Yeah. Lots of opportunities to have your hands in a bunch of different types of work.
And so is this just for Southeast Wisconsin, or does 599 go throughout the state?
Yeah, we're a statewide local, so we're anywhere from Racine, Kenosha to the Milwaukee area to Madison up to La Crosse, Eau Claire, so we're all over the place.
Okay, good. And there's a big calling for individuals like these?
Oh yeah, big calling. Our work is super rewarding, although it's not easy, but we're definitely looking to staff the crews of the future. So,
and obviously we're talking about apprenticeship, so let's talk about the training center.
Sure.
You have this one here in Milwaukee. Do you have other options for individuals around the state?
Yeah, so depending on kind of like where you're more local, we have this training center here in Milwaukee, and then we also have a training center out in Madison. So,
okay.
And then we also have local offices in Racine, Kenosha, and La Crosse, Eau Claire. So, you know, depending on where you're local, we can kind of get you into the mix.
Sure, and obviously we're in the dead of winter. And in Wisconsin, that's not really conducive to pouring concrete. So is that when the bulk of your training gets done at these training centers?
Yep, certainly we have the winter months here that make it definitely a slower time in the field for workers. So we take advantage of that to perform our block training. So for 3 weeks out of the year, our students come in and they learn about the material and math and safety and everything they need to do as far as classroom time and book time to be equipped to be a good professional concrete finisher.
A well-rounded cement finisher, concrete finisher. Really interchangeable term there.
Cement mason, concrete finisher.
Yeah, you know, when I've been out on job sites, they say, hey, finishers are showing up.
The finishers,
so that's it. Hey, before we get into the specifics of the training, how do you get started? I mean, if I'm interested in this trade, I mean, do I just show up and start taking a course?
Not quite. We would recommend that you start off by going on to our website, so OPCMIA599.com, where you can fill out a general application. We get to know a little bit about your experience, and from there, we'll set you up with the most local business agent or training director. We'll talk a little bit more between the two of us about like what experience that you've had and figure out where would be a best fit with some of the contractors that we have. We'll teach you a little bit about your benefits. We'll teach you about what it means to be in the union so that you're in the mindset to move forward.
Boy, I really like that process, the way you guys do it. I'm not just filling out an application and having a hard interview. It sounds like you're really trying to get to know me to see if I'm a good fit for the trade. And not only that, but is the trade a good fit for me so that neither of you make a mistake. You're trying to be as productive as possible. And do you see dividends from that process? I mean, do most of your members, live out the career as a cement mason?
Yeah, we definitely pride ourselves in being able to set people up for success. Most of the apprentices that are in class today are obviously close to graduation. And in fact, most of our graduates are going to complete their career and retire as a cement mason.
Oh, that's great to hear. And another cool thing is I heard just starting out you're green, you get an apprenticeship, you're starting out getting paid like $30 an hour, somewhere around there.
Yeah, 30 bucks an hour-ish, depending on where in the state you are, what contract that you're working under, but you're making close to $30 an hour. And just as a reminder, we enforce the minimum. So if you're more advanced in skills, or you have more value to the contractor, you could be getting more than that.
And I can speak from experience. I mean, some of my buddies are in the trade and they get paid more than the minimum because the employer really appreciates what they bring to the table and they want to keep them on their team.
Absolutely. Yep, that happens all the time.
Okay, well, you said there's hands-on, there's classroom. This is the hands-on. Can we go and check out one of the classrooms?
Let's go.
So this must be one of the classrooms we were talking about.
Yeah, this is where we earn while we learn.
Okay, now let's walk through that portion of it. I mean, how many hours, because I know that's how you look at it, to earn your apprenticeship?
Sure, so 400 hours in the classroom over 3 years, combined with your 4,000 hours of on-the-job training.
Okay, so is the classroom portion, again, that's really in the dead of winter, you have to, over 3 calendar years, get to 400 hours?
Yep, 3 weeks each of those years for 3 years. You're in the classroom or you're in one of our hands-on training centers.
So when you talk about 400 hours of classroom time, it's really, this is considered classroom, but so is the real world experience that we just saw in the background when we were talking.
Absolutely, yep. The 400 hours that we do in here, we try to make the most of, like if there's a material that we can demonstrate, or if there's a process that we can demonstrate, or a tool, manufacturer, anything that we can do to keep things active.
And is it fair to say that from year 1 to year 3, it starts out basic and then moves on to some pretty technical stuff they're going to see in the field?
Yeah, exactly. So in the beginning, you're learning about how cement is made and about the material that we work with. Safety, basics of math, so you can figure out volume, how to order concrete. And then you progress into the second year where you're learning more about setting forms and tools and how to run a job. And then finally in your third year, we're talking about even more technical processes like pervious concrete, underlayment, overlayment, decorative, saw cutting. So the information just progresses a little bit more with technicality by the time you're finished.
And it seems to me like anything you're learning here is really to make you better prepared for when you're out on the job site. And that's where the 4,000 hours come in, because you're probably experiencing things out there that you can actually come back and say, hey, I had a question, and talk to the experienced instructors here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our instructors have years and years of experience in the field, so they're good sources of advice and they're good, people to ask questions. This is the setting that there's time and there's the resources available to work that kind of stuff out.
That's awesome. Now that's 400 hours here, but that 4,000 hours out in the field, that seems like a lot. I mean, do you always get through that in 3 calendar years?
3 calendar years is the minimum that you're going to be an apprentice. Some of our students are going to take a little bit more, maybe into their 4th year. Like I was a road builder, so having the seasonal layoffs, it took me into my 4th year before I graduated and became a journeyman. Depends on like the consistency of the work hours, which the outlook is good.
Yeah, well, after learning about the 400 hours here and the 4,000 out there, it's no wonder you get such a well-rounded education, and you got to feel pretty good about yourself by the time you get your journey workers apprenticeship here as a cement mason.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment, and we celebrate it. The hard work that you put in and the networking that you do and the group that you become a part of is really special to all of us, and we all take a lot of pride in it.
Well, it's been awesome visiting the Milwaukee Training Center, but this is just the beginning. You have a lot more in store for us down in Madison.
Sure, you're going to talk to some of our instructors, and you're also going to hear from a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd year apprentice.
Oh, wow, lots of learning to be done, just like the apprentices here today. I'll let you get back to your duties. In the meantime, I hope to catch up with you again on another episode of Building Wisconsin.
Thanks, Stu.
Welcome to Building Wisconsin, Jerred. Thanks so much for coming on today's show. And I didn't know what to expect coming out to the training center of Local 599 here in Madison, but it wasn't this. I mean, all this activity indoors, it's about 10 degrees outside, middle of January, and you're training. I assume these are all apprentices?
Every one of them, first, second, and third year, yes.
Okay, so when I'm looking around here, tell us what each station is about.
Okay, so over here we got the second year apprentices. They're working on steps. We have curriculum we follow for each year. Steps is part of their program. They've already done the curb last week when we poured. So this week we got them forming their steps and they'll be pouring them and finish them. They'll have to strip the faces off. They'll trowel one, they'll bloom one because we need different steps for different areas.
Sure, and you know, I gotta believe this is the best type of training you can have. I know that there's a classroom element to a cement mason's apprenticeship, but hands-on, real-world materials, real-world settings, and I mean, they're being taught by very experienced instructors.
Yes, they are, Stu. Just like you say, it's a time-sensitive product. We only have a certain amount of time to get it done, and if we don't get it done right the first time, it's a very costly error to have to go back and fix it. We have Tim helping with the second year here. He's doing the steps. He's a great instructor. We just hired him this year. He's been in the union for 10. Doug's over there. Doug's almost a 30-year member. He did a lot of curb and gutter in his day. He did some super flat floors. And then we have Ryan over here working with the first years on the slab. Ryan's been in the union about 10 years. He's a new instructor this year himself.
And I love to hear the instructors have real world experience, many years of it out in the field, and they're passing their knowledge along as instructors for the union.
Absolutely. There are our guys in here, but out in the real world, our journey workers train side by side as well. When we get them in here, we only have them for 3 weeks. We can only teach them so much. But we try to provide everything we can that they need to use out in the real world. We cover everything from the road work side to the building trade side. So we have apprentices in here that do building trades, but we also teach them the road work part of it. Because
Really?
if it gets slow out in the industry, they can jump from one to the other back and forth.
Sounds like a well-rounded education they're getting here.
They're getting everything they need to go out when they are journeymen and just do whatever they need to do.
Okay, you quickly touched on the second-year apprentices. Walk us through what they're doing, what you're hoping to accomplish with the training here with them.
Okay, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure we have a perfect set of steps that will shed water. They will not retain. That's why they're checking them with the level. They check them both ways, across for flatness and out for pitch to make sure if it ever gets any water on it, they will run off. Because if they hold water, they will not be accepted and they will have to get tore out and replaced.
And I know you're really into tolerances here, but I also know from my personal experience, concrete is a visual product.
Oh.
And I saw the instructors a little earlier and they were looking at it and saying, you see how it looks? It might be level or it might be the right pitch, but it looks a little bit off. So, you know, you really want to eyeball it, but at the end of the day, you do want it for safety purposes to shed water, snow, whatever, right?
Absolutely, and just like you said, appealing to the eye. We might have something that we line up, we form it, we put it up, we measure it, and then we step back and look, we pull a string line on it. Doesn't look appealing to the eye. No one's going to notice a half-inch variance in a 50-foot run if you have a line on it. It's going to be straight.
Well, I like to hear how the next generation are being trained. So that's the second-year apprentices. What about the first years here? They look like they're doing some flat work.
Last week we poured a slab underneath this. We turned the boards up. We did another one today. So what they did earlier is they put this slab in. They all took turns pouring. They all ran the vibra screed. They all ran some buckaroos, which is a little hand strike off to get this slab in. We let some people run the bowl float to flatten it out. And now they're coming behind. They're using their mag, get the edges laid down. They'll have to trowel the edges in, and then they'll have to cut an edge in as well.
Wow, you know, I made it sound easy, like, oh, they're just doing some flat work. There are a lot of different techniques that are required to do a good job, aren't there?
Absolutely, and we try to teach them that skill set in here. We prefer they come in with an open mind, no experience, just good work ethic, show up to work on time. That's what the contractors are looking for. Our job is to teach them the proper skill set on how to use the tools and the equipment they're going to use.
Wow, that's great to hear. So if I'm a young individual, I want to have a good career where I'm actually, I mean, let's face it, getting a good workout every day. Who needs a gym when you're doing concrete work? But it's a satisfying career. You're saying experience doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, you want them a little greener so they don't come in with a preconceived notion on how to do it.
Greener's better. I truly believe that. We love them coming in green. We have a lot of experienced guys here helping out that we can teach them certain things.
I assume being first year, not a lot of them have a lot of experience.
Not a lot of experience. We actually have one apprentice out there right now. He just joined school when we started this year. He will not even go out into the field until the weather breaks where he can actually get out and start work.
Well, as long as he has a good work ethic, sounds like the perfect candidate to be
all.
an apprentice in the cement masons.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Okay, now over here is the third year. What are they doing?
These third-year apprentices over here, they put these slabs in. This one over here, they're going to be doing some stenciling on, and over here they'll be doing some stamp work.
So stamped work is different than stenciling?
Stamping and stenciling are different. You use different products. Stenciling is a cardboard product that you put on the top. You lay it in, you broadcast your color on the top. The stamping, I believe they're going to be using liquid release today. They'll spray that on, then they take a rubber set of stamps and they'll go through and they'll stamp all that in and antique it later.
You know, I always call it the advancement of the industry. I mean, it's awesome what you can do with concrete. A lot of people think of concrete and it's just gray cement and that's it and blah, blah, blah. But it's actually, really, these guys are artisans at work, working on their craft, and some of the end results are beautiful.
Third-year guys are pretty advanced. We have a really good crew this year. They've done all this.
And the other nice thing over here when I look is there's curb and gutter here. So they're learning the importance of road work here, or our city streets, right?
So we did the curb work last week. It actually has pitch from the corner back there to the drain. So once this is all done, the stamping's done, the stenciling's done, the sidewalk, we will flood this area with water, and then we'll pull the drain and we'll make sure all the water goes to that, doesn't have any water pockets where it's holding.
So again, even though it's a relatively small indoor environment, they're able to work on big infrastructure projects or learn how to do it properly here.
We pack a lot into this little training center. We try to cover all the bases because these kids may go from one spot to another. Some are building trades, like I said before, some are heavy highway. So we want to teach them everything they need to know about the trade so they can go anywhere.
And then once all of this is set up, say you come back tomorrow morning, I mean, it's concrete, it's permanent, isn't it? Or what do you guys do?
It will be permanent, so tomorrow we'll come in, we'll lay out saw joints, and they will cut all the saw joints in it for release cracks.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, they end up pulling it all up and, you know, whenever this spring sometime, so that the next generation, next January and February can come in here and do the same?
Yeah, this all goes in a dumpster and we start over fresh next year.
Recycle it, that's perfect. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your contractors and the partnership you have with them, because this probably wouldn't get done without that partnership.
No, we have very good partnerships with our contractors. Findorf's a great contributor to our program. Middleton Construction, they've given us a rider to use. They've gave us great deals on bobcats and stuff that we use around the training center.
Yeah, we've had Russ on our show in the past, and he's really passionate about his trade, the entire industry, and especially the next generation coming up.
Russ is top of the line. Middleton Construction, they have quite a few apprentices in here, and we really pride ourselves to have them go out and work with us.
Well, Jerred, awesome being able to come out here. Thank you so much for coming on Building Wisconsin and sharing it with us.
I appreciate coming, Stu. Thank you.
Tatiana, it's so great to have you on today's show. We saw you doing a little bit of work here, and Jerred was saying you're a first-year apprentice, and we wanted to catch up with you to learn, number one, what got you into the cement mason trade?
Yeah, so I actually came through the union. I took a little class, and we made these little slabs. And I was like, this is kind of fun to do. And Jerred was like, this is not usually what we do. Like, this is just this little taste of what you would do with cement. But I was like, I want to do it. He's like, are you sure? Like, it's hard work. And I was like, yes, let me try it. So that's what got me into it.
Well, you're bringing a lot of energy. It
Yeah.
seems like you like your career choice so far.
Yeah.
So have you been out in the field, or is this like literally just started?
So I was out in the field last year for about 5 months. So I got a little hands-on training before I came here. So I have a little knowledge, but I've learned a lot more in the past 2 weeks here.
So were you in the building trade side or the road building side?
I was on the road side with Parisi Construction. We did curbs, sidewalks, and all over.
Oh, really? So that's what I was going to ask you. Do you have to travel far? I mean, your typical day, it sounds like it's a half an hour or less, or is it more?
So it's usually half an hour or less because I live right here. But a few times we've been out an hour-ish, but otherwise, yeah, less than a half hour.
Has it been welcoming? I mean, the guys out in the field, welcoming to you coming in?
All the guys have been nice to me, and they've helped me when I needed it. But otherwise, they let me do my work.
What about the training that you're getting here? Do you find it's pretty valuable? He talked that there's training here, but also mentorship out in the field.
Yeah, training here, it helps me get extra knowledge because I haven't been working the past month. So coming here and then going back to work hopefully next month, it gives me a jump in what I'm going to be doing again.
Down the road, 5-10 years, where do you envision yourself being?
Hopefully a journey worker, and I'm hoping to be working down south.
Down south, really?
Yep.
Okay, so again, if travel is in your desire, there's an opportunity in virtually any of the trades, but even in the cement masons, if you're good at what you do, there's probably a calling for you at some local contractor.
And there's work everywhere, so.
Well, I'll let you get back to work on your training here. Thank you so much for coming on today's show. Well, Matt, thanks for taking time out of your busy training schedule to tell us a little bit what you're learning here today and about your career path to become a cement finisher. I saw you were really busy working on that countertop.
Yeah, that's one of the things they added in this year. It's going to be a decorative countertop with some color in it.
Yeah, a lot of people probably don't think of concrete, a countertop, but really, if you can think of it, you can make it when it comes to concrete.
Yeah, there's a lot more decorative aspect to it than maybe most people realize. As you can see with the stamping, the countertops, things of that nature.
Sure. Well, so far on today's show, we've been learning about starting a career as a cement finisher, and you're a member of Local 599, so we thought we'd catch up with you to learn about how you got into this trade. Now, how long have you been a cement finisher?
I've been in for about a year and a half.
Oh, really?
I had a family, and I decided I wanted to be somewhere where I work closer to home. I used to travel quite a bit, so.
It makes total sense to me. You're starting a family, you want to be home. Do you find most of the jobs you're working on as a cement finisher are within driving distance every day?
Yeah, yep. Most times I'm within an hour and a half. So it's a lot closer to home than what I previously did.
Sure. Are you happy with your choice so far?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And what do you feel about the training? Did you expect it to be like this? That, you know, on today's show, we've been down in Milwaukee at their training center. We're here in Madison at the training center. I mean, are you happy with what you're learning?
Yeah, they pack a lot in kind of a short amount of time, but you get your hands in on everything. We've done stamping, some walls, slab pours. So you kind of get the basics, and then you can relate that when you go back to work after school.
And you know, throughout the trades, we talk about mentorship when you're on the job site from other journey workers. Do you find that to be the case as a concrete finisher?
Yes, absolutely. Biggest thing is if you show up, or you're reliable, keep your head down and work, people are going to notice that, and they're going to take time to help you out, show you tricks of the trade, how to do things properly.
Something you didn't learn in a book.
Correct.
Well, it sounds to me like you made the right choice, and with your hard work and training that you're getting here, you're going to be a great complement to this industry. Thanks a lot. I'll let you get back to your training.
All right, thank you.
Jeff, thanks so much for coming on Building Wisconsin. It's awesome seeing all the different level apprentices in action, learning the trade. You're a third year. How do you like this training center?
Oh man, it's great. Signed up a few years ago, not knowing what to expect, but just they showed me around. This was the first thing that caught my eye. That I knew for a fact we'd be actually hands-on training, getting things done. We got the room, the facility to do it and whatnot. And yeah, it was a big selling point to sign up.
Well, absolutely. To me, I mean, you're a young adult, middle-aged even, and it sounds like you're relatively new into it, obviously.
Yes, sir.
You had a very diverse career path before this?
Absolutely, yeah. I tried my hand and went to college right out of high school. Wasn't sure what to do, so I just left that behind. Tried to find myself for a little bit, got into sales, actually was in TV and radio for a little bit.
Sure.
And yeah, kind of bounced around, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for more. And it just was that time in my life where I was at that crossroads where I could take a career change in that.
Sure.
I heard the trades was booming. Wasn't sure. I had a lot of family relatives. My grandpas and my uncles did mason work and did concrete work. So I just did the AccuPlacer testing, interviewed, a 4-hour awesome interview with these guys. Got to know each other. They cared about me, who I was, because they knew if I chose this, it right away didn't sound right, I wouldn't last. And they're trying to bring applications in for apprenticeships that are actually going to see this through. So it's a really good, important process to do the interview in person, talk it over, and yeah.
As far as the benefits, I mean, are you happy with what you're receiving for the hard work you're putting in?
Absolutely. I mean, you're not going to get the wages we do doing anything else starting right out. And then what you put in is what you get out. So it works on an hourly way. So the more hours you bank, the more raises you get, closer to the ultimate goal, journeymanship, right? You get your journeyman card, and then you're basically a free agent. You can take your craft anywhere. But right away, health insurance, the pension, it's just amazing. You can't beat it. So yeah, and at the end of the day, they have your back. So if you get laid off, things aren't working out at the place you're at, just one phone call away, and you got 2 or 3 guys that are willing to hear you out and then find you the next place or find the next stage to go. So yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your training to shed some light on your career choice and the value that exists out there for other hardworking individuals. Thanks a lot.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
For more information on Building Wisconsin, follow us on Facebook and be sure to watch additional episodes on YouTube or at our website, buildingwiscontintv.com. The preceding program was sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.